Hey everyone, today we are going to talk to Dhwani. She is a really good friend of mine. We went to UNCC together and we were also research assistants together. Dhwani is a senior data scientist at Exponential AI currently, and she has been doing great work. I've been seeing her journey all throughout this year. Like she has moved to a senior data scientist just in I think 3 or 4 years. So that is a really good career transition that she has done, not career transition but career growth that she has shown. And I've seen that she's always attending meetups or doing new courses. So I think she's like a perfect person to talk about all things data science and AI. So without further ado, I'm going to start asking questions to Dhwani. First of all, Dhwani, thank you so much for agreeing to do this. I think it's going to be so useful for anybody who is trying to get into data science or who is trying to grow into data science. So
Yeah. And
first
thank you
thing,
so much for
yeah,
starting this initiative, and thank you so much for having me.
yeah, sure, of course. Like I think you were one of the first few people I wanted to talk to because I've seen your growth over the years, and I'm inspired by whatever you do. So first thing, let's get into the questions. First thing I wanted to ask you is take us through how is the day-to-day life of a senior data scientist? How is the daily schedule or the weekly schedule that you guys do on a day-to-day basis? Yeah.
In my day-to-day work, like my day starts with usual stand-up calls with the team members, where sometimes product or engineering teams also get involved to just get to know the process or also the progress that team is making. And Other than that, like my day-to-day work involves performing descriptive and predictive analysis. Majority of my time goes into cleaning up the data, and then experimentation and solution design, and um, scheduling time with stakeholders as well sometimes to understand what challenges they are facing and make them aware about what um, progress the team is making as well. So,
Makes sense. Yeah. So there's like a lot of things meetings and also like doing work. I wanted to ask like one quick follow-up. Like how much time is gone maybe in coding? Like how much percentage of your time would you say? Maybe a rough estimate.
60% of the time,
Time, yeah, makes sense. And
then
okay,
coding hands-on, yes.
sounds good. Okay. So the next question I wanted to ask is what are some of the skills that maybe technical skills or soft skills that you need to thrive in your job, right? Like there's so many, I think you said you have to talk to the stakeholders. So I think there's a lot of soft skills as well involved. So what are some of those?
Talking about the technical aspect, of course, you need to know Python, SQL, basic of statistics.
Mhm.
Uh, the algorithm wise like data science and machine learning algorithm is also important, but the soft skill wise, I think you need to have presentation skill.
Mhm.
And since you have to talk to stakeholders, sometimes it becomes challenging to make the non-technical person understand what technical jargon or words mean in the data science world, right? So you need to have some examples or uh, cases that challenges that you are facing that very handy, and you should be able to communicate those you know communicate those ideas that you are bringing to the table on the technical side. You should be able to translate it into the non-technical way.
Basically, you should be able to explain it to like a 5-year old, like in a layman's term, basically.
Yes.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah. So now, these technical skills that you use and the soft skills, what I wanted to ask is about your educational background. how much of those skills came from education? We can start from like what you did, like, your bachelor's, your master's, and then what did you study and how that translated into what you are doing today.
Yeah. So it all started with my final year project during my bachelor's. So I did my bachelor's in electronics and communication, and I had taken one course for the computer vision,
Mhm.
and that translated into one final year project for detecting helmet of the motorcyclist. And that's how I was exposed to the world of data science and machine learning, that hey, this is something that can happen. And then I took my job, which involved in India, which involved computer graphics, computer vision, and machine learning as well. And that's how I was very sure that, I have that interest in this world. And I did my master's from UNC Charlotte, and my concentration was also data science and machine learning. So I took the courses which, gave me some stepping stones, which is like I covered basics of data mining, performing, how to perform exploratory data analysis, hypothesis testing, and learned about classification, regression, all those machine learning classes, right? So that gave me like understanding of what I'm signing up for. So other than that, like after you learn about theories, I think to get exposed to the practical world, I participated in hackathons and Kaggle competition, analytics with their competitions, to really get a grasp on how the actual data looks like. Because what you study in the classroom is like all the ideal world data, which usually does not happen. As I mentioned, all my time goes into cleaning up the data, finding the missing, like imputing the missing data and stuff like that. So it just gave me a good exposure on how the real world data would look like. And again, this was again a stepping stone on my, actual real full time job. So yeah, that's
Yeah,
how
so
it started off.
awesome. That's so cool. Like you did your bachelor's in electronics engineering, and then through one project, like which you did in your last year, you were exposed to this amazing world of data and machine learning and computer vision. So that's amazing. And now you are a senior data scientist in that field. I think it's a really cool transition to see.
Yeah.
Um, I think
One more
one,
thing,
yeah,
one more
good.
thing I wanted to add to that is like the domain knowledge,
Mhm.
because since last 4 years I have been working in healthcare domain, and it is very important to understand the bigger picture of uh, how the ecosystem of the data and the process looks like, to basically understand the pain point of the end user, and designing a solution that actually would work for them. So it's very important to understand, like zoom out and understand what does that entire ecosystem looks like, to visualize where your solution will actually fit into. So yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah. So you said like domain knowledge, and that kind of comes with experience, right? Because you've worked in that domain, or do you think you can do certain other things that would give you that domain knowledge?
No, that will only happen when you enter in the company. Since I
Makes
was in
sense.
health before this, right? So it has, and claims data used to be like, our everyday thing, and providing that solution, adjudication of the claim through this automation was like a bread and butter for our team. So to understand the entire process, you will have to, like, that industry exposure gives you for sure, but you should be willing to learn and eager and curious to know what is actually happening. And yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah. Other than the technical side, you also probably want to know what's going on in the
Right.
particular industry as well. Yeah, makes sense. Um, So next thing that I wanted to touch up was on like the growth, the career growth side of thing, right? You are now a senior data scientist, but you might have started as a data scientist and then you went through few things, or you made some contributions in your career, maybe you had some achievements, some milestones in your career which brought you to this place. What are some of those things according
Um,
to you?
yeah. So first thing is, yeah, of course you have to work hard. Another thing I would say is like you can talk with your manager in your one-on-ones that like what into their perspective what is the horizontal and vertical growth looks like and how they want to direct the team towards what is their vision. So try to align that vision to your career as well, or see where it fits, right? That is one. And in the horizontal growth, for example, like which technical areas you feel like you are lagging or you want to improve upon. So ask your manager for that opportunity that, hey, I feel like I want to do something in this XYZ area. And do you think I should start some pet project, or do you know any other uh, sister team or something that who are working on the same project I can contribute or something? So they will guide you through. So,
Okay.
but the thing is, you have to talk to them.
Yeah.
And in the vertical path, of course, like you have to build relationships with teams as well as your peers. You can always brainstorm, even if like you are working with different projects, you can brainstorm, hey, what are the challenges you are facing, and maybe help them out if you have bandwidth. And like because at the end of the day, like many companies do like peer reviews as well.
Hmm.
So that kind of helps in like documenting what uh, you know progress you made, as well as what kind of relationships you build as well. So that kind of helps. And as a data scientist, I would also say that you don't only um, talk or brainstorm with just data scientists in your team. You will also have to work with the product team and engineering team as well. So build that relationships, because with product team, yeah, the ideas and most of the time stakeholders would talk with them, and you will have to understand where the challenges and everything is coming from. So build that relationships. And in with engineering team on the other side, whatever you have built, whatever hard work you have done, they will put it into the pipeline, right?
Hmm.
So you will have to really like make sure that whatever flow you have decided is the same goes into the pipeline, and they understand why you have put such things. So that's also very important to kind of collaborate and cross function.
Yeah, I think that's such good advice, because that I think it also applies to other roles as well. Like, talking to your manager and making sure your manager knows what your goals are. I think managers think that some people are happy with what position they are in, but some people want to grow. So you have to make those things, bring those across to your manager. I think that applies to all the roles. And as a data scientist, like you said, you should be talking to all the other teams as well, right? Because peer reviews, I think most of the companies do that. So I think you said offering to help. I think that's also something which applies to all roles, but also I think as a data scientist, definitely people should look forward to. Yeah. So now, there's one other role, which is not a data scientist, but a data analyst. But somehow there's a confusion between those, or maybe,
There is an
um,
overlap.
there's an overlap between those two roles. And a lot of people are trying to go from the data analyst role to the data scientist role. A lot of people are trying to make that transition. And this is a question that I was asked when I said that we are going to do this talk. A lot of people ask it, how do you transition from data analyst to a data scientist? What is your opinion about it?
So I actually started with the data science intern as like to start with, but to transition from data analyst to data scientist, I one thing you can do is you can if you are working with the data science team, right, like you can talk to your manager to have some pet projects or some POC to start with. Because the good part is you already have the data. You already know, as a data analyst, you have already have good hands on the data. You know in and out of it. So the only thing that you want to add is like algorithmically or research wise, if you want to add something, how you can add that value. So maybe you can ask for some pet projects, and if some other team is working with it, you can brainstorm, hey, how, what kind of problem are you trying to solve, how did you think about it? So that always helps. And I think um, yeah, just, and once you are done with the that pet project, ask for feedback from the data scientists, or ask them how other way, is there any other way that you would have approached this problem? So that way you will understand where you are lagging and where you can improve. So, and on the other hand, if you are doing this, your manager will know that this girl or boy is kind of exposed to this field, and maybe he can transition into this role as well. So that way, I think that's a good start to have if you want to transition from data analyst to data scientist.
Yeah, makes sense. So it's not just showing interest, but taking actions and doing things on your
Yeah,
own, and then showing it that, you are capable of doing those things. That's how you can
because
transition.
everyone wants to do it, but if you don't prove
Yeah,
it,
yeah, makes
then
sense. You have to come with all the guns and ammunition, show that you have done those things. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. So, I think one of the things that I personally care about is like women in tech. Or, like I think all women care about this is like there is definitely like a lot of men and lesser women, compared to the number of men we have, and sometimes it can feel isolating, or sometimes that does feel like there is still like you feel like your career growth might be a little different than men. How is your experience been in tech and as a woman, and what are some of the things that challenges you've faced and how you've overcome those challenges?
yeah. So so if talking about right now, like I am the only female data scientist in my team right now. So minority, of course, you feel sometimes that you don't actually fit here. And sometimes you feel like that maybe your opinion does not matter to them. So you have to, I mean, how I overcame was that I was like very much prepared with my conclusions and data and what point I have to put and what conclusion I have made. So, yes, definitely. I had to go that extra mile to kind of really prove myself that, hey, what I'm talking actually makes sense. And you have to consider it, because you will screw up next thing if you don't consider this. So, yes, you have to uh, kind of go for that extra step to really put your point out there, and kind of make them understand that this is why it is important, and this is why my my opinion towards this is X, Y, and Z. So yeah.
Yeah, you have to, like, I think, come with 110%, not just 100%, but you have to come with 110% to put your point through. And sometimes, I don't know if you have faces, but I'm also like the only female engineer on my team. And sometimes, even in like a meeting or in a setting, like, you say something, and sometimes they just skip that part, right? They will just like overlook your opinion. So I think sometimes I just give up, like I'm like, you know what, if you're not going to take my opinion, I'm just going to stop caring about it. But I think that's not right, you
Not a
just
way
have
to
to.
go, because
Yeah,
then it's like a vicious circle that you get into, and then you will just stop speaking up.
yeah,
uh, so that should not happen. You,
yeah,
even if you feel like they are not caring, but just speak up. It's part of your job, so you have to do your job well.
yeah,
So yeah, it doesn't matter that if they care or not, or if you think they care or not. Maybe they do care, we don't know, but it's
yeah,
like that thing in our head. but you have to stick to your, what duties you have to perform at your job, and it's part of it. So
Yeah, I think speaking up, especially like even if like somebody, this is like somebody gave me this advice, even if they say, your point is being overlooked, just stop everyone right there in the meeting and speak up. Hey, this is the point I made. Why is it not being considered, right? Even to be like, because women are considered as loud. It's okay if they consider you loud, right? It's okay if they consider you as the, I don't want to say this, but the B word, right? It's okay. So I think people pleasing, like I think how we do, I think we just stop that and we
okay.
stand up for ourselves. That's really important, I think, as women in tech. Yeah. Um, I think now shifting gears towards like generative AI or the advancements that have been happening since the last 2 3 years, since the open AI putting ChatGPT out there, and like they made like such great advancements, and it has been exponential. There's new things coming every day. How do you as a data scientist keep up with those so many things, even me as a person, in the news everything is happening, you can't keep up. So how do you keep up as a data scientist who is in the middle of all these things happening around you?
Yeah, it's very overwhelming for sure, because every day new things is coming, and you learn something one day and that is like outdated the next week itself. So what I am trying, even I am learning and trying to do things. So what was working for me right now is understanding the basics of like, for example, GPT and all. So understand how the transformer based model is working. And I'm going a little technical, but
Sure,
it's
sure,
like
yeah.
encoder and decoder part of it, and then different variation in architecture is how it is performing and how it can be useful. So if
Hmm.
you know the basics, you will understand that, hey, this is the use case, this is the kind of model I want to use. So maybe out of 100 models, only 10 models are applicable for me, because that is the architecture that I'm looking for.
That's
So
amazing.
for now, you don't have to worry about those 100 and learn about those 100 models. Focus on this, see which model works the best for you, research on it. So that way you will feel little less overwhelmed and understand. So if you know the basics of it, you will come down to cut down your model to 10 models, and then you will take it from there. So that's how I am functioning right now
Makes sense, yeah.
with this uh, upcoming Gen AI tech. So
Yeah.
yeah, that
Yeah, I
helps.
think a lot of people are just jumping on the generative AI trend, right? A lot of companies are jumping, but I think we also discussed it previously that not a lot of things have to be solved with generative AI, right? So
Yeah.
you need to know what the use cases are, right?
Yes, and
Yeah.
and before also that, like before Gen AI came, right? There are many computer vision and natural language processing technique to kind of understand the unstructured data, get the information out of it. And those were simple, like deep learning models. Sure, like it has its own limitation. It might not be as powerful as the GPT models or whatever, but those models, like traditional models, were computationally very less expensive.
Makes sense.
And um, it is, and also there is no security breach or kind of problem that companies are facing, especially in healthcare. It is a big deal to kind of get those PHI data, and it's like very secure data that should not go out. So all those issues, right? To so not so if you understand your basic, like even before GPT, you know that well, you will understand that you don't always need those fancy models to be applied to get the simple solution out of it. So yeah, I agree to that. Like
Yeah.
many, even like what simple traditional model can do, maybe GPT cannot,
Yeah.
because of the simplicity and computation and whatever. It you need to understand that what is important at your that point of time. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think one other point that I wanted to bring, large language models are really huge, right? They need a lot of compute. Like you said, the traditional models may not need as much compute, and when they need more compute, they're more costly. And that's
Yep.
why people use third-party ones, right, from OpenAI, and you have to pay them, so they're costly, right? And you also send your data to them. You don't
Right.
know where your data is going. And with healthcare, there is like the HIPAA compliance and things like
Right.
that. You cannot share that data. So I think, yeah, just I guess. Like you said, knowing the basics of all the techniques that are already there, that also makes a really important aspect to take into consideration instead of just going to the LLMs, I guess. So yeah, that's a really good point. So maybe like thinking about Gen AI in general, do you think it's just a bubble or it's here to stay?
No, it's not the bubble. Because few years back when deep learning came, people thought it is again a fuzz, but no, it is like all the traditional model and there is math and science behind it. So no, it's not going to burst. It is going to stay, and I feel like we still have long way to go, and like even I see like chat gpt and all those models, right? Like if we give like small problem statement, it is able to give us the uh, answer or the code for that particular
Yeah.
model, particular problem. But I feel like when the complex problems kick in, I don't think it is still there yet.
Hmm.
So it still has
Yeah,
long.
long way to. Okay, now going to the fact that you did your bachelor's in India, so you're from India, and then you moved to US. As an immigrant in US, right? There must have been a lot of challenges. What were some of like your challenges personally that you faced, and how did you come out of those challenges?
Um, I think one challenge is the visa issue for
Hmm.
sure. I think we all have been through it, and it takes a toll on your mental health. Ki whether my H1B will get picked or not, whether I'll be able to continue or not. So it always like a uncertainty that you go through in
Yeah.
this country. So, but I never cared about it. So it worked out for me. But yeah, sure. For even for if it is a short amount of time, although I did not care most of the time, but even in that period, yeah, it does take that mental stress. Then you take that stress and just uh,
Yeah.
that is always there.
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the things that I see sometimes is, because of your H1B or any visa, there's always like this thing that I have to stay in this job till my, H1B is done or my I-140 is done. So sometimes it feels like even if you feel like you want to take that next step in your career, you might be like stopped. So I think that is also one of the challenges. I don't know if you have felt that way, that like I want to go to the next company, but my I-140 is still processing, or things like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think those things, visa does, like, I think affect your career, your mental health, and yeah, I wish there was a better system in place, but this is what we have now. Um, so another thing I wanted to ask, as a woman immigrant, were there any challenges, or as were it was fine, like, as a, yeah.
Um, So, all my life I was in Surat city
Hmm.
till 22, 23-year old. And then I moved to US directly. I was like exposed to this new world. Of course, it was like my choice to do it, and I was pretty excited about it. But as women, I feel like, finding your support system is very important here.
Makes sense.
and finding those people that who really believes in you and care about you when your family is not around, and of course you will reciprocate the same way, is kind of, I learned it, after coming here. Otherwise, I was always in that bubble or surrounded by family, very protected. But, after coming here, I think that shell kind of broke. And now I think I feel like now I have the people around me who really, are like my family and I can really count on them. So that way, I do feel like you have to find your uh,
Tribe. You have to find your
right.
tribe.
That yeah, you have to find.
Exactly. Makes
Because,
sense. That's
it's already like as a like my mom was like not working. She was like homemaker. And me as a first eldest child of the family who is outside of India and also trying to figure out like how do I, go ahead and, make my way out of it because I have not seen in my family.
yeah.
Uh, so it becomes kind of, you create your own journey and kind of you struggled sometimes, but you will always find your way if you really want to, if you know your
Exactly.
goals and destination.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I think I can relate to that. We are like the first generation of women who have the money, have the
Yeah,
opportunities, and are working outside. And we are working outside the country, right? You're so away from the family. You're doing it on our own, and we are the first generation, right? Our parents, like our mothers, did not do that. Some did, but it's still very different. It's a new experience. So, I think you have to be very independent in a sense, and people having people around you definitely helps. So that's really amazing. So now, coming from that topic of like having people around you, I think you also need a lot of people in your career, right, to make your career more successful. And I think I see you go to like networking events, you go to a lot of meetups and things like that. um what would you like to say about like connecting with other people, how important it is and how it has helped you in your career?
yeah. So like even when I was like, there's a backstory to it. So when I was in India, like my dad is always like, you have to talk to people, you have to market yourself, you have to make them understand that there is someone who is eager to have this opportunity and want to is excited about this technology and whatever. And you have to really market yourself. And I did not understand at that point of time.
Right.
But when I came here, I am like nobody knows me or my, any connection of my dad can help me out here. So, I really had to put myself out there. And as an introvert, I struggled a bit to, even talk to people. And because I'm like, socially awkward person, which I still am. But, I trained my mind to kind of go to this networking event and kind of pitch myself well and, really understand sometimes that what other people are doing in the industry and genuinely be interested in their journey as well. So I think that comes with time, and but first step is you have to, you know, go
Go
to those
out.
events and put the
Yeah.
step.
Makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. And I think one other thing that, like that I think we were discussing earlier was like I used to see these events as transaction, right? That I will go to this person and this person will help me. Right.
Yeah,
That this person, like it was transaction in a sense. But I think networking in general shouldn't be like that. I think you should just go meet people, see what their journeys are,
yeah,
and just and like listen to them and see what the different types of work that they're doing. It doesn't have to be that, okay, I meet this person will give me a job and that's
yeah.
it. That might happen, right? I think it happened in your case where you met someone,
Yeah,
right?
actually,
Yeah.
all my jobs till now is through a referral, and it's not kind of referral you put into the system. It's like word of. So,
That's amazing.
although I applied to like those hundreds and hundreds of application online, maybe even through referral, those have not worked. What has worked for me is like my, circle that I have built through years, and that has always worked for me.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, I don't think you should go with the goal of that. Of course, like if you are looking for jobs, definitely. But at the same time, also building that circle, like you said, and that can, you never know, can help you in the next 10 years or even 15 years, you never know,
Yeah,
whenever you get the
exactly.
fruit of that work.
You also got your job with the networking event,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Yeah, when I was in UNCC, I think I went to this event called Women Who Code or something like that. And that's where I met this really nice lady who introduced me to someone at my first company, Autonomic. And that's how I got my internship, and then I got my full time. So that was really like a very, right place at the right time, I would say.
Yeah.
And that internship turned out to be, yeah, really amazing. So I think, yeah, just going to these events also can help, not just like yeah. So
Yeah.
definitely, yeah, very important. um so now, there is so much that you do, right? There's like your job, like, 8 hours a day, plus then meetings, sorry, events, and then also like, learning new things. There's lot of work, right?
Hmm.
And so less time. I think very it's very easy to get burnt out, right? So how do you try not to just like, like just get burnt out and just lose it, right?
Um,
What are some of the tricks?
Yeah, I feel like work is not my entire life. It's
Yeah,
just part of my life. So treat it that way.
yeah,
Of course, like in the beginning of the career, you have to work really hard and you have to prove yourself. Getting into data science itself was really hard. So of course, I had to kind of work hard. But even at that time, I uh, put like my time off to like talk to family back in India and unwind a little bit, like go for a hike or go to gym or travel a bit, uh, catch up with friends. So that way it kind of helps to soothe my mental capacity that I have, put into the work, and it helps
yeah.
to unwind.
Yeah, I think I recently heard somewhere this advice that you live life in seasons, right? There is one season where you're working really hard, then there is one season of your life where you're focusing on your, like, going to the gym and getting fit. And then there is other part where you're just vacationing or like, having time off. So I think we should like, take those breaks, right? Even you have all those PTOs, right?
Yeah,
You should take those PTOs and go out and travel. Especially in US, we have so much to do,
yeah.
and so beautiful, right? So yeah, I think taking breaks and just like not making work your life. Definitely, that's the way to go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Still coming back to like, maybe some courses that you're taking or some books that you're reading to grow in your data science career. What are some resources that you would recommend?
Uh, to start with, I would always recommend Coursera's Andrew Ng's
Hmm.
Stanford's course on machine learning. It's like a Bible for if you want to get into machine learning and data science. So, and he has explained all the concepts very thoroughly, and it's beautiful course, very well designed.
Awesome.
Another book that I will recommend is Introduction to Statistical Learning. That is also a good book to understand the basics of statistics, which will kind of help you through A/B testing and all your analysis and stuff like that. And another course is Udemy's A/B testing. Uh, they have explained it like very well and very thoroughly.
Mhm.
And in industry, you will have to use A/B testing to kind of you know um, have like what is the impact of your changes that you are making and what would be the results. So
Excellent.
um, those courses would definitely help if you're getting started with your data
Yeah.
science.
That's amazing, and those I think are from your professional life and your professional experience that these courses have helped you. So I think that's really people should definitely check those out. So now we're almost at the end of our podcast, and there's one thing that I think I'm gonna make a habit of asking everyone, because there's so many, like so few women in spotlight, right? So there's very, like, if you want a role model, a woman role model, you have to do a lot of digging to find one, because think of Elon Musk, Steve Jobs. They're, everybody knows about them, but there's not like a lot of women in tech, especially, that you know of. You do definitely know a lot of women in business, but in tech, it's difficult. So I wanted to ask you, who is your women role model in tech?
There is one woman, Yazoo, who is head of data science in LinkedIn, and
Oh,
she has worked at Google and then LinkedIn, and she has like incredible journey. And she was 40 under 40, and all those achievements are like, like something I would want to achieve for sure. So, yeah, it has like she is definitely an inspiration for me.
awesome. Yeah, I'm definitely going to check out her LinkedIn.
Yeah, and
Um,
another person that I want to mention is Ranjani Mani from Microsoft. She is national head for Microsoft, I think, for data science and machine learning. And she regularly posts on LinkedIn about machine learning and data science. And even through going through her posts, it just, you know, uh, it inspires me to like people are at that level still are learning, they are not
yeah,
stopping. So it's very important, even if you reach even at certain level, you need to really have good grasp of your technical side. So she is inspiring me to always keep learning and always keep in touch with what you were and what you know maybe we in touch with the new technology and always keeping up with it. So even
yeah.
if you reach at certain level. So yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, you have to keep up, and even like whatever level you are at. So, yeah, thanks so much for sharing. I'm going to definitely check out the profiles, and girls who are aspiring to become data scientists or grow in that career, they should also check these two people and Dhwani as well, because Dhwani has done really well in her career. I think you have a really great career progress, which is amazing. Thank you so much for doing this again. I had a lot of fun, and I think this is going to be so helpful for everyone who is like in this field and wants to, even not just data science. I think there's so much advice even for other people as well, like for career growth and things like that. So, yeah, thanks a lot, Dhwani. I think
Thank
this
you
was
so much.
amazing. Yeah,
And thank you so much for this initiative. And I really, really hope that it helps people. And
yeah, yeah. I wish we had something like this when we were like,
like
there. But
exactly. I
yeah,
really wish I had something like, yeah, like because getting into data science was a huge challenge. And, not many people from our batch has really got into it,
yeah, yeah.
you know. So I had no senior also to even ask to and to even understand that what path I should take. Should I really be going for it, or what should I do? But, you know, uh,
Yeah,
I think I was very stubborn at that point that hey, this is what I want to do. And
that's good. Yeah, that's amazing. I think it paid off really well. Like, your stubbornness and, your work towards, I think that shows right now. So, yeah, and I think a lot of juniors are now going to reach out to you because you are going to be that senior who is going to guide them. So, yeah, thank you so much, Bunny. I think this was amazing. Thanks a lot.
thank you so much, Senor.